Ryan Reynolds might have just made the biggest mistake of this entire lawsuit, and honestly, it's one nobody saw coming from him. So here's what happened. Blake Lively officially named Ryan Reynolds as a key witness she plans to call to the stand in her case against Justin Baldoni. On paper, that sounds like a power move, right? Your husband, one of the most famous men on the planet, backing you up in court. Except there's a massive problem, because everything Ryan has said and done behind the scenes, it doesn't help Blake. It arguably destroys her. We need to talk about this because the more Ryan Reynolds gets pulled into this case, the worse it gets for both of them. And I genuinely think they don't see it. Let's start with the obvious. Ryan Reynolds called Justin Baldoni a deranged predator. He reportedly contacted Baldoni's own agents at WME and pressured them to drop him. He allegedly went to executives at Wayfarer Studios and pushed for Baldoni to be completely cut off from Hollywood. This wasn't a concerned husband having a private conversation. This was a coordinated campaign to end someone's career. And now, all of that is going to come out in open court. Think about what that looks like to a jury. You've got Ryan Reynolds, a guy worth hundreds of millions of dollars, who was barely on the set of It Ends With Us, maybe once or twice by most accounts, calling in favors across the industry to destroy the director of his wife's movie. A director who, by the way, sent Blake a 7-minute apology at 2 a.m. during production. Does that sound like a predator? Or does that sound like a guy who knew the relationship was rocky and was trying to smooth things over? And here's where it gets really uncomfortable for Blake's side. The judge already dismissed several of her original claims. The ones that survived are mostly about breach of contract and retaliation. The harassment allegations, the ones that painted Baldoni as this dangerous figure, those took a serious hit. So now you're bringing your husband to the stand to talk about what exactly? His observations during the project's development? He wasn't there for most of it. The promotional rollout? That's the part where Blake's own marketing decisions got criticized for being tone deaf about a movie dealing with domestic violence. Let me read you something Ryan wrote in one of his messages, because this is where I think people really need to pay attention. He wrote about how nobody seems willing to have an uncomfortable conversation on Blake's behalf. He talked about how he felt depleted and exhausted. He compared the situation to staying away from a dying animal. These are not the words of someone calmly supporting his wife. These are the words of someone who was emotionally driving this whole thing from behind the scenes. And the text messages between Ryan and Blake's team, the ones where he's essentially directing strategy, telling agents what to do, making it clear that if you side with Baldoni, you're making an enemy of Ryan Reynolds. Those are all in the court filings now. Baldoni's legal team included them in their amended complaint. So when Ryan takes the stand, he's not just there as a supportive husband, he's there as someone who allegedly orchestrated a professional takedown of another person. Now, Blake's attorneys are saying the dismissed claims were thrown out on technical legal grounds, not because of the merits. And okay, fine, that's a legal argument you can make. But the court of public opinion doesn't care about technical legal grounds. People are reading those text messages. People are seeing Ryan's behavior, and the reaction has not been good. Here's the other thing nobody's talking about enough. Blake admitted that the second half of production was, in her own description, a wonderful professional experience. So if the back half of filming went great, what exactly are we still fighting about? What happened in the first half that was so terrible it justifies a lawsuit seeking between $142 million and $300 million in damages? Because let's be real about those numbers for a second. $300 million. For a movie that Blake reportedly took increasing creative control over, that she pushed her own marketing vision for, and that had a director whose cut actually tested well with audiences before Blake and Ryan got involved in reshaping it. Sony's own people apparently thought they were overstepping, and now they want $300 million? The witness list alone tells you how broad this has gotten. Blake's team wants to call Jenny Slate, Isabella Farah, Colleen Hoover, Blake's own sister Robin, multiple PR professionals, digital strategists, and expert witnesses on reputational damage and social media influence. They want 15 days of trial in New York. This is not a simple harassment case anymore. This has turned into a full-scale Hollywood war, and the longer it goes, the more damage it does to both sides, but especially to Blake. Because right now, the narrative has completely flipped. When this started, Baldoni was the villain. He was getting buried in the press before he could even respond. Now? Now people are reading Ryan's messages and calling Blake the next Amber Heard. Hollywood insiders are reportedly warning her that if this goes badly at trial, she could be pushed out of the industry entirely. And her own agency, WME, sure, they're publicly supporting her. But let's not pretend that's loyalty. Ryan Reynolds makes them an enormous amount of money. They can't afford to publicly break with him. The smartest thing Blake and Ryan could have done, and I've been saying this from the beginning, was so simple. Admit the marketing was bad. Acknowledge that there were creative disagreements with Justin. Stand next to him at a premiere or a press event and show the world that whatever happened, you're both professionals. That's literally what the head of Sony suggested. Just stand on the same red carpet. You don't even have to be next to each other. Just be in the same room and stop giving people reasons to speculate. Instead, Ryan reportedly pushed to have Baldoni blocked from attending his own movie's premiere. The director of the film couldn't walk his own red carpet. If you're a juror and you hear that, what does that tell you about who had the power in this situation? The trial is coming. Both sides are preparing, and Ryan Reynolds taking the stand is either going to be the moment that saves Blake's case or the moment that buries it. Because once those text messages get read out loud in a courtroom, once a jury hears how Ryan spoke to agents and executives, once they see the gap between the public image and the private behavior, there's no taking that back. So, what do you think? Does Ryan testifying help Blake, or does it hand Baldoni's team exactly what they need? Let me know in the comments, and if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button, because this case is far from over, and we're going to be covering every single development. I'll see you in the next one.